Dixie here. Today I want to talk to you about my favorite socks for 2021. During my thru hike of the Pinhoti Trail, I decided to test out a new brand of socks. And if you haven't heard of them yet, they're called Farm to Feet. They seem fairly similar to the Darn Tough brand, which I've more or less been loyal to since 2017. Of course, Farm to Feet has different style options and cushion types, but the specific style I went with was the Damascus Lightweight Elite hiking sock. So when I started the Pinhoti, I took that pair of the Farm to Feets and then a control pair of the Darn Toughs, so I could wear them side by side, not literally one on one foot and one on the other. Maybe I should have done that, but I would wear the Farm to Feet for a day or two and then the Darn Toughs for a day or two. And I have to say that the Farm to Feet socks seemed a bit more comfortable and a little more soft. And after wearing them, I mean, don't get me wrong, both pair got really grody, but they just seemed less kind of stiff and funky compared to the Darn Tough socks. At first I was thinking that the softness might be attributed to the makeup of the sock, different materials, but that actually seems pretty comparable too. It's hard to beat Darn Tough's guarantee. They've got a lifetime satisfaction guarantee. If you wear a hole in them, which they almost dare you to, then they'll happily swap them out for you. So it's hard to beat that, but Farm to Feet has at least matched that. Both brands are made right here in the USA and they have the same lifetime guarantee. Now, I have worked with Darn Tough and their customer service on replacing socks before, and I know a lot of different stores do that for them and are happy to do exchanges there at the store if they sell Darn Tough. I'm not sure that Farm to Feet is quite as widespread yet, but they do, on the surface anyway, offer that guarantee. So if any of y'all have traded out for any Farm to Feets that you wore a hole in, let me know how their customer service was. I still think the most comfortable brand of sock that I've hiked with are the Smartwools, but they don't have that lifetime guarantee, and they tend to wear out much more quickly than the Darn Toughs. I've had a pair of Smartwools wear out around 100 miles or so, and that just doesn't work for me on the long distance hikes that I do when I'm having to replace them as I go, where a pair of Darn Toughs will last me an entire thru hike. But the Farm to Feet are heading more in that direction in the way of comfort and softness. Of course, I only wore the Farm to Feet for, I guess, maybe about half of the Pinhoti Trail since I rotate out days. So I've only used them for 175 miles or so, but I'm going to continue testing them out on the Florida Trail. My favorite socks for blister control continue to be the Injinjis. Now, I didn't have any issues with blisters while I was on the Pinhoti Trail. However, I have heard that people tend to be more plagued with blisters on the Florida Trail because their feet are staying wet more often, especially in the swampy areas, and you've got sand that's constantly going into your socks and then creating friction. So I'm going to continue testing out the Farm to Feet socks on the Florida Trail, but also kind of, I guess, as a control, I'll take the Injinjis with me. And if you're not familiar with those, they're the little toe socks that keep your toes separated. They're not uncomfortable for me anyway. Once I start wearing them, I can't even tell that I've got toe socks on. But the idea is to have the material protecting your toes from rubbing together, so the friction ends up being between the two pieces of material rather than between the skin of your two toes. So same thing with the Injinjis, they tend to wear out much more quickly than the Darn Toughs that I've used in the past, and they don't have the lifetime guarantee. They are a little bit more cheap than the Darn Toughs or the Farm to Feet or even the Smartwools, so that works out nicely. But I will take the Farm to Feet with me and the Injinjis on the Florida Trail. But overall, for 2021, I think I'm going to be using Farm to Feets a bit more, and hopefully later on I can give a better report on how quickly they wear out and how it is to deal with customer service. Actually, I guess I hope I can't give a report on them wearing out, because I hope that they last for a long time like the Darn Toughs. All right, y'all, that is all I have for you today on the topic of socks. If you've used the Farm to Feet brand before, I'd love to hear about what style you prefer and how they've held up for you and what you think about them compared to other brands that you've used. Anyway, thank y'all for watching, and we'll see you next time.